Greetings and welcome to Let's Talk About Books, baby, where we talk with your favorite LGBTQ authors. This is Anita Kelly, and my guest today is Elena Abbott. Hi, Elena, and welcome.
Hi, thanks so much for having me.
Yeah, thanks for being here. So you are having a better weather day up north than I am here in the States.
Yeah, nice and sunny.
Good, awesome, nice and rainy here. So, Elena, I wanted to talk to you about this novel that you have that is coming out very soon. And I do believe your publisher is Bold Strokes Books. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's correct.
Okay. And the name of the book is Pack of Her Own. And can you tell us a little bit about this book?
Of course. Pack of Her Own is about a trans woman who's trying to get over a bad breakup. She's been kind of beat up and put down too much that she doesn't think she deserves something better. So when she's given the chance to get out of town to kind of work through things, she meets a local diner owner, and she finds that there's connection there. But the diner owner is kind of a little bit more than she expected when it turns out that she's a werewolf.
Wow.
So there's a lot of back and forth with secrets between the two of them for a while there before they finally make sense of one another.
Oh, wow. That sounds like a really interesting story. It's quite imaginative, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And you I was reading a little bit about Pack of Her Own, and it sounds like you created this whole world for the story to take place in. And so, I'm just wondering, have you always been an imaginative person? Has that always been the case growing up? And was that encouraged by, adults in your life as a child?
Well, I like to think I've always been an imaginative person. I lived in my imagination for quite a while when I was growing up. It was definitely frowned upon by my parents, who are very realist, to put it nicely.
Okay.
So I tended to live in my imagination. I ignored my schoolwork for writing instead. I started writing from a very young age. And I started writing fan fiction, but I found that it was the fan fiction I was writing had too many rules already set down. Okay. So I want to use my imagination to kind of build my own worlds.
Okay. All right. So is that true with a lot of fan fiction? Like when you go on a site, are there rules to writing fan fiction?
I think when I found it, and this was, say, 20-some years ago, I didn't really know the rules. I just felt like, well, they've already established these characters or this world via the TV show or the books or whatever I was writing about at the time, or even the video games. And I was like, well, I want to do my own thing, so I'm going to just take what I want from it and build my own world around that.
Ah, I see. Okay. So that takes even more imagination, right? So
it certainly can.
So if your parents frowned upon, you kind of exploring that creative side of yourself, how were you able to do that?
A pen and a paper, and that's about it. I used to I carried notebooks with me everywhere I went. I had a pencil with me everywhere I went, and I would just, to the detriment of my education and sometimes my jobs when I got older,
yeah.
I would be busy working on my writing or doing other stuff instead of doing what I was supposed to be doing and getting paid for.
Okay. All right. I understand that. um, I was just talking to somebody who said they would miss work just to read a novel and finish it. Um,
Yeah, that'd be very tempting.
Yeah, it would. So, is this your debut novel, Pack of Her Own?
Yes and no. It's my first traditionally published novel through a publisher, through Bold Strokes.
Okay.
I do have a couple other novels and a novella that I had self-published through Amazon over the past couple of years.
Oh, okay, great. And are those like Pack of Her Own is in the fantasy genre? So are those other works that you publish, self-publish, are those in the same genre?
Similar genres. The first one is a lesbian superhero novel that I called Into Darkness. Okay. And then there was a sci-fi western, kind of like a Firefly with lesbians, called Blood Bounty. Okay. And then the novella, which is written under my pen name, Lily Hart, it's called Need, and it's a pure BDSM erotica romance. Okay. So it was kind of something out of my range.
Okay. Wow. Yeah, a little different there. Do you read fantasy novels, Elena?
Quite a bit. I grew up with fantasy novels. I enjoyed them more than I enjoyed real life for a long time.
Okay. And who are some of your favorite authors?
Well, the first one I remember reading was Terry Brooks and the Shannara series, which was a big hit for me to get into writing my own. And then as a teenager, I fell in love with Tamara Pierce books. Okay.
Yeah, I'm not familiar.
Tamara Pierce. I think I might have pronounced her name wrong. Oh, my goodness.
That's all right. Tamara Pierce. I'm not really familiar with a lot of the fantasy authors. So.
Fair enough. She did a number of middle grade and young adult books where they had strong female leads, which was not something I saw a lot back, again, this is 20 years ago.
Yeah.
So we didn't see a lot of that back then.
Okay.
And then as I got older, I kind of fell in love with the Anita Blake books by Laurel K. Hamilton, which were more of an urban fantasy that takes place in the real world. And I found out that, hey, you can actually write a book like that where you can put things like vampires and werewolves, but have it set in the real world. And that really gave a setting for a lot of my writing from then on.
Yeah. Wow. That's so cool. And how long would you say you've been writing? Like most of your life?
Most of my life, since I was math, 13 or so. Okay. So about 20, 25 years.
Wow, that's awesome. So,
only just starting to publish.
Who inspired you or pushed you to submit your manuscript for publication? Or did you come up with that on your own?
My goal, my dream was always to get published, especially in the last 10 years when I felt that my work was getting much better than it had been. But honestly, my greatest inspiration is my wife, or as I like to call her, my goddess. She's been completely supportive of me since day one, and honestly, I don't deserve her.
Aw, that's so sweet of you to say that. That's so awesome. So, while you were talking, I was trying to think of, like I said, I don't really read a lot of fantasy books, but I'm reading one now. It's called The House in the Cerulean Sea. Have you ever heard of that one?
I don't think I've heard of that one. I might have to put it on my to-be-read list.
Yeah, it was on the New York Times, I think bestsellers list and USA Today, and it has. I'm just getting into it, but it has a Harry Potterish feel to it. Yeah, so check it out. and tell me what you think.
I definitely will.
Yeah. So, this is your first published novel, but how, how did you choose? How did you go about choosing Bold Strokes, or did you submit it other places and Bold Strokes picked you up? How did that come about?
I did submit to a couple other places, as well as a couple of agents, a couple of literary agents. But it just seemed to, I hadn't heard back from the agents when I got the acceptance from Bold Strokes.
Okay.
And the publishers that I had tried before, unfortunately, rejected my work, which was fine. We always say it's fine.
Yeah, yeah. It's never fine, though.
No, it makes you cry for a day, and then you're okay.
Yeah. That's
But then I
tough.
got the acceptance from Bold Strokes, and
Pack of Her Own due out for publication.
through the Bold Strokes website. I believe it's available on March 1st.
March 1st.
But I've noticed on Amazon it's not available until March 14th.
Yeah, that's usually how it goes. At least with Bold Strokes, I've learned that you can get the book earlier, like on the first of the month, before you can get it anywhere else, which is nice that they make it available early. So that's
a definite bonus.
Yeah, it sure is. So that's March 1st at Bold Strokes, and then the 14th at Amazon or wherever you purchase your ebooks or paper books. So I have to ask you, Elena, do you prefer ebooks or paper books?
Aesthetically, I much prefer paper books, but for ease of reading, it usually comes down to ebooks. Like, I have Kindle Unlimited on my phone, so I'm just sitting there reading the books on my phone most of the time.
Yeah.
But they look so pretty on a shelf.
They do, but I definitely don't have space. It's definitely a space issue.
Very much so.
Yeah. I only keep some of my favorite authors' books, and I donate the rest of them to the LGBT center in the town where I live. So they go.
Oh, that's wonderful.
Yeah, they get some good usage. Yeah. So, this is going to be your first kind of published works with a publisher, and how does that feel? I can't imagine how that would feel.
It feels pretty surreal.
Yeah.
I'm still surprised that it's even a thing.
Really?
I get emails from Bold Strokes, and I'm just like, oh my god, this is actually a thing.
It's happening.
I spent years hoping and dreaming about this, and it's still unbelievable.
Oh, that's so cool.
I'm so grateful to them for taking the chance on me.
I'm so happy for you. That is so awesome. Good for you.
Thank you.
Yes. So, do you have a work in process right now? Are you working on another one?
I've always got a couple books going.
Okay.
Going around. Right now, I'm actually working on the third book in what I call the Of Our Own series. Okay. I recently sent in the second book, so we'll see if Bold Strokes likes that one, and we'll go from there. But I decided in the meantime I'd start working on a third one, tentatively titled Hunt of Our Own.
Oh, wow. Hunt of Our Own. And what was the second one called?
Mate of Our Own.
Oh, cool. Cool.
And they're both going to follow characters who are introduced in the first book, but we get to see more of their backgrounds, more of their stories in the next books.
Oh, nice. That's nice. I always like that when, you have a series and you can see character growth and you can see, just how the characters progress through life and grow and change, and other characters are introduced. It's like it's like a whole different world, that you've created and are sharing with people.
And you kind of fall in love with other characters as well. Like, you want to know more about this side character or this side character, but at the same time, sometimes you want to know more about the main characters. So you get to see how everybody progresses with a nicely different story.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, that's so true. And you read a lot of fantasy genre books, and you had some favorite authors, and I don't know about you, but sometimes my favorite authors change over time. Um, I might encounter somebody new, and I'm like, wow, I really like this, and you know, um, and then there's the tried and true authors, like you just always know that whatever they put out is going to be fantastic.
And you're going to love it, and you're going to snap it up right away.
Yeah. So, have you been able to meet any of those authors whose work you've admired in the past?
No, I'm a bit of a homebody. I've never actually gotten to go out and meet anybody. I've never been to any sort of conventions or anything like that. The closest I've come is getting to meet a fellow named Matt Mercer. He plays, he's a voice actor, and who plays Dungeons and Dragons online on a live show called Critical Role. I actually got to meet him once at a anime convention.
Oh, cool!
Which was really cool. But for authors, unfortunately, I've never gotten to meet any. But I have tried to develop some friendships over Twitter and whatnot. And I have to say, I got to meet TJ Dallas, and I can't say enough good things about her. And she's been so great to chat with and talk with and ask questions.
Oh, that's so nice. That's awesome. Yeah, it's nice when you can make those connections, even if not in person, just, again, electronically.
Yeah, very
right?
much changed with social media. I still remember a time before social media. So it was so much harder to make connections back then.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. I used to lose track of people all the time, and now, you know what everybody's doing. So,
sometimes too much.
That's true. Yes. So, again, I'm going back to your favorite authors, and what do you think, like, in the case of Tamara Pierce, what are some of the things that she wrote about, or her style of writing, that drew you to her?
Very much. It was a very formative time for me when I started reading her books, and she had a lot of very strong female characters who were breaking gender stereotypes. Her fantasy books were very much, this is, the character is a girl, but she's going to be doing stuff that normally only boys get to do. Mm-hmm. Like her Alana the Lioness series, Alana trains to be a knight in this fantasy world. Mm-hmm. And I fell in love with them because these were strong girls who were shucking off the normal gender roles of their time. And that was something I was very much interested in as a child. I wasn't even sure why. I didn't have the words to put together that I was transgender back then. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I couldn't even say why I was interested in those kind of scenarios, but they really struck a chord with me.
Yeah.
And I still remember them even now. I'll still go back and read them again and again if I can find them.
Yeah. That's so cool that, retrospectively you can see how, because of who you are now and who you've allowed yourself really to kind of come into your own, right? That you can look back and see now why maybe you were, interested in certain things growing up that maybe were different from what other kids were into, you know?
Well, exactly. Hindsight's very much 2020.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, you know, it's funny. I had a friend of my mother's. Her kids grew up with us, and um, she told me one time that she knew that I was a lesbian from the time I was 4 years old. Like I was astounded. I was like, "What? I didn't even know."
Like, no way. How could you possibly know? It's just like
Yeah.
the little things
Yeah.
people notice
Yep,
sometimes.
absolutely. She did. She totally did. Uh, you know, and I wished I had asked her if she had had a conversation with my mom. Unfortunately, both of them are no longer with us, but you know, now I'm like, oh, I should have asked her if she talked to my mom. That would be interesting to hear what she had to say about it. Um, but yeah, so it's funny. Like we 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 are who we are, right? There's no denying it. Um,
There's
and
no stopping it,
yeah,
even
absolutely.
if it takes years.
Yeah, yeah, right. Absolutely, and people not supporting you for who you are too, right?
Very much.
Yeah, yeah. So, Elena, what do you get out of writing? Like you said that you started at a young age, and it sounds like it was almost a way to like kind of cope with life, um, and create this world, a safe world for yourself.
It very much was. It was very much an escape from reality, where I could make up my own rules and my own people, and even the outcome of everything. I could make sure there was a happy ending. I could make sure that the certain people who don't always get the good ending got the good ending for a change. I loved reading too, but there was something about my own writing my own worlds that really appealed to me. As an adult, it's less about the escape from reality because I can't really afford to escape that much,
Hmm.
and has become much more of a way to work out pent-up emotions and problems and make them something that can be overcome.
So it's very cathartic for you. It sounds like.
hmm
Yeah, awesome.
I noticed in my work in progress in Mate of Her Own, the character of Heather, she started. I know I was having some troubles um, a couple months ago, and just getting very depressed, getting very down. And when I was writing that book, that same character was very down, very depressed, and trying to come back out of it. And I realized how much of myself I'm putting into my characters.
Oh wow, that's interesting. Yeah. That really is cathartic then if you're able to work through that and come out on the other side. Yeah.
Very much so.
Yeah, that's awesome. And I liked what you said, like you could control the outcome then, which is something that, as a child you really probably have no control over the outcomes.
Very little.
Yeah, yeah. So that's great. That's really awesome. Um, so you have hopefully two books coming out soon, right? Mate of Her Own and Hunt of Her Own. Um,
hmm
and then in March, you have Pack of Her Own coming out,
Yep.
through Bold Strokes. So we are looking forward to that. That really sounds like a great novel. Very yeah, very imaginative and entertaining. I gotta ask, the made up town, is that in Canada or is that somewhere else?
It is in Canada. It is a
Okay.
made-up town, but it's kind of in the space of another town, about 3 hours away from Edmonton, where I live.
Okay. Awesome. Awesome. Sounds great. Well, I can't wait to read it. I'm looking forward to it. Um, So, Elena, that is about all the time we have for today. But I'm just going to ask if you have any parting words for our listeners.
Well, it might sound a little cliche, but honestly, if you're trying to get published, just don't give up. Keep on trying. If a quiet little trans woman like myself can get published, so can anyone else. It's just a matter of having the right manuscript at the right time.
That's awesome. That's a great thing to tell people because, um, yeah, I think a lot of it is about your timing, right? And
Yeah,
they always say being at the right place at the right time, and that is very applicable here. Um, so yeah, good for
very much.
you. Good for you. Super. I'm so happy
Thank
for
you.
you. Yeah, yeah. So, all right, Elena, we will look for Pack of Our Own coming out March 1st. Um, but again, that's all the time we have for today. And I'm Anita Kelly. And thanks to Elena Abbott for joining us. And thanks to all of you for listening and joining Liz talk about books, baby. So until next time, may your journey be lighthearted, peace be plenty, and be safe, folks.